About a year ago, I platinumed one of the best Marvel tie-in games, Captain America Super Soldier, and I enjoyed it so much that I picked up another Avengers game for the PS3, Thor: God of Thunder. Over the last week, I finally got around to playing it, and of course I got the Platinum Trophy as well. There were 36 trophies to collect, including the Platinum, and 26 of those were missable. One of the trophies, which you'll see more of later on, required me to beat the game on its hardest difficulty, Valhallan, which was only made available after completing the game once on any other difficulty. So the plan looked like this. Phase 1, play through the story on the easiest difficulty, Skraling, to grab a majority of the collectibles and try my best to get any missable trophies I could, or any that sounded like they'd be even more of a nightmare on Valhallan. Phase 2, play the story a second time, but on the aforementioned Valhallan difficulty, aka How Did He Kill Me So Fast mode, and while I was there I cleaned up almost all the other missable trophies, and completed the feats, which had an interestingly named trophy. And then there's Phase 3, which actually wasn't supposed to happen, and this was just to grab the last few trophies I somehow missed in 2 playthroughs. The game started with a cutscene introducing Asgard and the All-Father Odin, before the place was attacked by Jotun. Heimdall was neutralized, and Thor, Loki, and Sif found out about the attack soon after, where Thor said the most intimidating thing he could think of.
Wrong, Jotun. You've come here to die.
Then I fought the combat tutorial Jotuns and used the Mjolnir Leap ability to advance to the next section, only to realize I already missed the first collectible. Speaking of collectibles, there were 4 different types that would unlock something or upgrade one of Thor's abilities. Red Mjolnir tokens to upgrade health, blue Valknut tokens to increase Odin Force or magic, yellow Lightning Bolt tokens to unlock lightning colors, and green Rune Circle tokens to unlock new outfits. After I landed in the next section, I got my first trophy of the game, Rage of Battle, for defeating 10 Jotun in 30 seconds. Then I activated a Valor rune and used the points to get my first upgrade, which did unlock a trophy, but my recording was paused. I reached the palace where I fought the first boss battle against a Frost Goliath. I defeated it by ripping the Jotun operator out, which got me another trophy. But then...
No! Sif.
Immediately, Thor was ready to go to Niflheim and get revenge, but...
How dare you defy me?
You give me no choice.
No, no one shall pass this way to Niflheim. My word is final.
However, Loki knew a way to get Thor out of Asgard. At the Rainbow Bridge, Loki talked Thor into destroying all the Jotun in Niflheim for revenge, and sent him to Heimdall's observatory. In the meantime, Odin revived Sif, a task that cost him a lot of energy and resulted in him entering the Odin sleep. With Odin out of the way, and Thor on his way to Niflheim, Loki began plotting.
Sleep, Father. Sleep, and I will do what is necessary. For Asgard. And for Loki.
Back as Thor, I unlocked a new lightning color, which let me master the way of the Sith, and unlocked the way to Niflheim. In Niflheim, I continued the Star Wars trend by launching an Anakin-level attack on the Jotun. Mjolnir was buffed, and I was able to, and I quote, slaughter as many Jotun as possible. That got the attention of their leader, Ymir, who pretty much just said, "Do it." Okay, I'm done with the Star Wars references. I had to reach the spire that Ymir was pulling his power from, and destroyed this ice bridge on the way for the sharpshooter trophy. I reached the top of the spire, destroyed the jade column surrounding it, and with a well-timed Mjolnir throw, destroyed the core. I got this pop-up for defeating 5 enemies with the Thunderbreaker attack. This was one of those feats I mentioned earlier, for the trophy with the funny name. I made it to Ymir's stronghold, where I faced the first real boss. This fight wasn't too bad. All I had to do was avoid his ice breath, deflect the projectile attacks back at him, and grapple up when I had the opportunity. After a few heavy hits, Ymir was defeated. Loki showed up to give some more guidance and pointed Thor towards the Cave of Ages, which held the power to permanently destroy Niflheim. When I tried to open it,
Wait, son of Odin. You do not understand. The cave must not be opened, or I swear the 9 worlds will suffer. I will not let you bring the apocalypse.
this phase of the battle was fairly similar to the first, only now I had to avoid his ice lasers, and those heavy attacks from earlier would put him out of action temporarily, giving me just enough time to power up the gate. I got it open eventually, but maybe that wasn't the best idea.
Boiling hatred of a billion souls, we live again. By Odin's foul treachery, we were imprisoned, but now to vengeance, to Asgard. Odin, we come for you.
What have I done?
What have I done?
If it wasn't clear by now, Loki was not on our side, and instead of sending Thor somewhere helpful, he sent him to Vanaheim, and struck a deal with Ulik, leader of the Trolls. When I arrived in Vanaheim, I found who they based the name of easy difficulty off of,
Skraelings.
and set out on my journey to find the Frost Grinder, Thor's way back to Asgard. Along the way, I fought this huge mire giant, and to take him down, I used the Thunderclap ability to destroy his chestplate, attacked him in little increments until he got mad and threw his helmet at me, and then absolutely dunked on him. Meanwhile, that monster I let out of the cave reached Asgard, and Loki tried to cash in and save the day. The whole point of his plan to get some recognition with Thor out of the picture.
Time to be the hero.
And it was at that moment he knew he needed Thor's help. I hopped on this sail barge and commanded it down the river, taking out every Skraeling and giant troll in my path. At one point I had to destroy 4 mortars to make sure the barge, and the mire giant pulling it, got through safely. On the other side, we reached the Frost Grinder, but the mire giant turned on me. However, I didn't actually have to fight this guy. He just wanted to get back in the water, and for helping him do that, I got a trophy. Inside the Frost Grinder, we got some exposition on that very intimidating and dangerous behemoth I set free earlier, and even got to put a name to that handsome face.
A monstrous entity called Mangog that consumes living souls.
Up another elevator, I confronted Ulik as he called upon his trolls to band together and have a world tour of all 9 realms. I started by taking down his henchmen, causing him to send in his secret weapon, the War Beast, who wasn't much different than the Mire Giants, only this guy had a laser cannon on his forehead. It didn't matter though, he got dunked on too. But without any more reinforcements, it was time to face Ulik head on. In this fight, I had to break every single one of his teeth, smack him in the face with Mjolnir in first person, return these energy cores to sender, and successfully complete this quick time event all before chucking Ulik into space. After this fight, Loki came back to ask for Thor's help before the next trophy popped. In the next world,
Muspelheim.
I needed to find the material called Skabrite and infuse Mjolnir with it, since it was the only thing strong enough to take down Mangog. I was introduced to these annoying little red guys and took 4 of them out with 1 melee attack. Then unlocked the ultimate outfit for Thor, and it made bro act up. I faced this realm's mini-boss, the Infernir Champion, which was probably the easiest yet. Then I took a stroll down this trippy hallway and watched this massive drill appear in the sky. To make the drill vulnerable, I first had to destroy the 2 anchors keeping it in place. On the main drill platform, I activated 3 rune panels to open the door and sent a bunch of enemies into the abyss in the process. Then I destroyed another Infernir champion, and the drill followed shortly behind. Outside of Surtur's forge, Thor came up with a plan.
I knock very loudly, brother.
And knock loudly is exactly what I did. But this guy answered the door instead. Once he was taken down, I knocked again. Inside, I came across Surtur's sword, Twilight, which was forged entirely of Skabrite, but...
So like your father, brainstorm and foolish. The sons of Muspel will ride over your ashes to claim Asgard.
You will die trying.
And this boss fight was really good. First, I had to destroy his armor, which was also made of Skabrite, and I did that by waiting for him to stab the ground, running up Twilight, and hitting him with a heavy combo. Then I narrowly avoided being impaled, twice, and chipped away at his health until I got the upper hand. With Surtur out of commission, I destroyed Twilight and imbued Mjolnir with the pure Skabrite. I returned to a besieged Asgard, and after clearing the Rainbow Bridge, the Asgards were freed from being frozen. Loki said that Odin was holding off Mangog as best he could, and that Sif was holding down Heimdall's observatory. Thor was rightfully confused.
Sif? She is recovered?
It's a funny story, really. You see...
I regrouped with the rest of the team at the observatory, where Thor told Sif to command the troops, and he'd go with Heimdall to stop the siege for good. I went from location to location fighting off the invaders, starting on the furthest left side where I took down these drills. Then I joined the Asgard guards to push back the ground forces, took down another frost giant, and reclaimed the Galahorn. While I was doing that, I had to keep an eye on Asgard's morale meter, as there was a trophy for completing the defense with it above 75%. This was much, much easier said than done.
We fight bravely to the end, but Asgard is lost. We are overrun. We fight bravely to the end, but Asgard is lost.
Did that really just break?
We are overrun. I call on all the powers of Asgard to help us now.
But eventually, like after an hour, I was able to defend Asgard with the meter just about full. Oh wait, that wasn't done yet. Now I had to keep the enemies away from this huge bomb, another section that took me more than one try, because for another trophy, I couldn't use any magic. Once I successfully kept the attackers away, I used the bomb against them and returned to the palace. I reached Mangog and Odin tagged me in. And let me just say, this guy, well, he was the real deal. The devs did not hold back at all for this final battle. And remember, this was the easy mode. In the first phase, I had to run away and attack at strategic moments, but mostly just run away. After a certain amount of hits, I'd be able to grapple and get a heavy combo in. After 3 times, Mangog jumped onto a perch at the back of the arena. From there, he'd send a volley of projectiles my way, like 8 or 10 small ones, which also track you, followed by 3 more, harder hitting projectiles. I had to deflect these enough times to make him jump down and hit another few heavy combos. In the final phase, I was able to summon Loki as a distraction. That is, after I got enough hits in to fill the power surge meter. Once he was distracted, I could get another heavy combo in, and after 4 of those, Mangog was defeated. Not too bad, for now.
It is at an end. The beast lies slain, and Asgard is rewarded by your valor.
Father, I have much to atone for.
Turns out the reason he was so mad was because he had a bunch of souls trapped in him, and in the last cutscene, Odin freed them, which brought the game to an end. Well, the easy version of the game, that is.
May the hatred that formed you beget hatred no more. Go now to the fate you earn, and so richly deserve.
For Asgard!
So now that I completed the story, I could go back and do it all again on Valhallan. This was when I started to question if this platinum was even worth it, but real quick, there were 2 things I had to say I was thankful for. First was New Game Plus, because I got to go into this mostly upgraded. And the second is the fact that in New Game Plus, all my collectibles and progress on the feats carried over. This was huge because I missed a ton of both of those things in my first playthrough. But I had to be careful because this was my last chance. If I missed them this time, I'd have to start an entirely new game. I was going to be real busy heading into this section. Remember what I said earlier about missable trophies? Well, I missed a lot. Of the 26 missable trophies, I had earned 7. I spent some time in Asgard doing all the combat feats just to get them out of the way early, and then I grabbed the 8th collectible I needed for the first trophy of New Game Plus, Favored Prince, for completing all feats in Asgard. In Niflheim, I got Slayer for quickly defeating 30 Jotun warriors in the first battle.
Ymir, show yourself!
Then came the real challenge, the feats. And to complete Nimble, I had to make it through this cave without being hit by Ymir's ice blasts. This was easier said than done. Maybe I was just bad at this game, I don't know. Luckily, the save point was right at the beginning of the cave, where I learned this dance, and eventually I made it through. The others weren't as bad. I had to avoid some spike traps, reach the top of the spire without falling, destroy Ymir's face within 20 seconds, and stop him from reforming more than twice during his boss fight. And since I opened the Cave of Ages so quickly, specifically in less than 4 minutes, I got the Spelunker trophy. As I was getting the collectibles in Niflheim, I came across the last Rune Circle and Lightning Bolt, unlocking the last costume and Lightning Color. In Vanaheim, I grabbed another trophy right after I took down the first Mire Giant. This one was for unlocking every Valor upgrade. And the only other trophies I needed here were Barge Hauler for completing the barge section with the Mire Giant over 40% HP, and Volley for deflecting 3 projectiles back at the War Beast. Then after destroying some Spore Pods, Leech Weeds, and Skraelings, I got Jungle Runner for completing all Vanaheim feats. In Muspelheim, I finished up most of the feats early, like destroying lava plants, geodes, and ore carriers. Then I disabled this room of resonator beams without being hit for... And after this Infernir champion fight that took way too long, I got another trophy for using the wind ability to extinguish 10 warlord enemies. Then, most stressful of all, I had to destroy the drill within 4 minutes of landing on it. This trophy was different than the other missable ones though, because taking down the drill happened across 2 autosaves, meaning if I took just too long on one of them, I'd have to either replay the entire game back to chapter 11, or load my latest manual save, either of which would have been fairly annoying. But to my surprise, I made it work. I started by simply running past as many enemies as I could while activating the first 2 switches. Then I locked in and defeated this wave of enemies to get to the third, rushed to the boss entrance, and faced another Infernir champion. Turns out those 30 minutes I spent fighting the last one paid off after all. And from there, I grabbed the 15th collectible. When I was going through it in the section before this, I died a few times. Totally normal for Valhallan, but what I forgot was that collectibles did not save between lives. So... And there we go. Now I have the 15th collectible. And after one more excruciating boss fight, if only I knew what was coming, I destroyed Twilight and returned to Asgard. I collected the last Mjolnir token to max out Thor's health, then soon after maxed out his Odin Force, and since those were the last collectibles in Asgard Besieged, I also got the Prodigal Son trophy. I'm back at the Mangog boss fight. I didn't even write anything about this, just quote, talk about boss fight and how happy it made me. But yeah, this was no joke. Every hit would take 2 health chunks, or about a third of the bar. And the ranged attacks, oh, don't get me started on those ranged attacks. I don't even know how many tries this took. And I want to say, before you see this next part, just know that it brought out a different side of me. Legend of Valhalla, oh my god. I broke my controller. That was brutal. Don't ask how I got here, but I have to go into a 3rd playthrough. I'm still missing a couple trophies. I'm at 32 right now out of 36. I still need to defeat a giant without being hit. I still need to complete one of the feats on Muspelheim. I don't even know how I missed it earlier. And then when I get that, I'll get the trophy for completing all the feats, and then that will unlock the platinum. So, here we go. Okay, this should be it. This is this section right here. The last feat I need is to extinguish 7 more incendiary clouds. Platinum trophy for Thor, God of Thunder. Okay, so I'm working on fixing that piece that flew off of my controller when I chucked it. I can't believe I actually broke it. It was so dumb looking back on it. Stupid Mangog. The next step, once that dries, is I'm going to put that little piece there back where it goes, and then I'm gonna put that back on the controller. All right, so I got that little piece back in there. And now the last thing to do is to just get it back right there. Okay, so it really isn't pretty, but it's back on there. And once this dries, I'll clean it up a little bit more, but it's probably as good as I'm gonna get it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. And like I said in the last video, drop some suggestions for the platinum wheel I have in the works. I hope you have a great day. See you in the next one. Peace out.